Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about age spots, also called sunspots. Age spots, they are flat and small to medium in size. We need to understand why these are formed. The reason we need to understand why these are formed is because once we understand why they formed, we can take necessary measures to prevent their formation. Because once these age spots and sunspots start appearing on the skin, it's very, very hard to get rid of them. Sunspots, it's a type of hyperpigmentation. When a patch of skin appears darker than its surrounding areas, it's called hyperpigmentation. There are different types of hyperpigmentation, and the one that we're going to be talking about today is the age spots, also called the sunspots. To understand why they form, we need to understand the functions of two different types of skin cells. One is melanocytes, the other one is keratinocytes. Melanocytes, these are cells which have large tentacles. These cells have large tentacles like an octopus. These cells, they produce melanin. Melanin is like skin's umbrella. It protects the skin from sun's UV radiation. It works like an umbrella and protects the skin from UV radiation. And there are two color ranges for melanin. One is black and brown and the other one is yellow and red. Melanin, of course, cannot give you 100% protection, and that's why we need the sunscreen, and we'll get to that a bit later in the video. The second type of skin cells is called keratinocytes. 90% of our skin is made up of keratinocytes. Now, when the skin is exposed to sun's UV radiation, the radiation penetrates the skin, enters the deeper layers, and damages the DNA of keratinocytes. So what happens is, whenever the skin is exposed to the sun's UV radiation, and when the radiation starts penetrating and doing its dirty work of damaging the DNA of keratinocytes, the immune system responds. It just wakes up and it starts responding. So when the immune system responds, what it does, it sets a series of actions in place. The first thing it does, it gets melanocytes. It tells melanocytes, start producing more melanin. And melanocytes goes into an overdrive and starts producing more melanin. And this melanin gets transferred into keratinocytes through the long tentacles of melanocytes. And once they reach the keratinocytes, this melanin, it goes and forms a shield around the nucleus of the keratinocytes. It forms a shield around the nucleus of the keratinocytes because inside the nucleus is where the DNA of keratinocytes live. So, once it forms a shield around the nucleus, this shield is also called the melanin shield. Now, when the sun's UV rays penetrate the deeper layers and come inside the keratinocytes to damage the DNA, the melanin shield attracts the UV radiation. But of course, warning again, this melanin shield can never provide 100% protection. And that's why, to prevent the sun's UV radiation to even getting to this stage, we apply sunscreen. So we'll get to that a bit later. So this is what's happened. So sun's UV radiation starts to get into the skin, starts attacking the DNA of keratinocytes. The immune system responds, sets off a series of actions in place. Melanocytes gets triggered to produce more melanin. The melanin gets transferred to keratinocytes through its long tentacles. The melanin surrounds the nucleus and forms a melanin shield. And the UV radiation, now when it reaches the keratinocytes, is absorbed by the melanin shield. And as we are exposed to the sun's UV radiation for longer periods of time, the melanocytes starts producing more and more melanin. It goes into an overdrive and starts producing more melanin. And this is why we get tan. Tan is nothing but a skin's immune system response. And the color of the tan is from the color of melanin. And once our exposure to the UV radiation slows down, so we probably moved away and the sun's gone away a bit more, the sun's UV radiation is a bit less active, this tan disappears. The tan disappears. But the melanin that was produced, the extra melanin that was produced from some parts of the skin, they just stay back. They just stay back and they form deposits in that parts of the skin. And this is why these are nothing. And this is how the age spots or the sunspots are formed. The tan goes away, but deposits of melanin stay back. And this deposits of melanin was formed because the melanocytes went into overdrive and started producing more melanin. And these deposits is nothing but the age spots are also called they're also called the sunspots. So how do we stop this from happening? How do we prevent these melanocytes from going into this overdrive and doing all this? Sunscreen. The answer is simple. Once we apply sunscreen, what happens? When we apply sunscreen, the sun's UV radiation touches the skin. Sunscreen does its magic. The UV radiation never gets to the deeper layers of keratinocytes, never damages the DNA, the immune system doesn't go into an overdrive, melanocytes doesn't produce extra melanin, or overproduction of melanin doesn't happen, and then that means the deposits of melanin doesn't happen. So that's all, because once the age spots are formed, it's very hard to get rid of them. So best thing we can do is prevention, and the prevention is nothing but applying sunscreen. Not just applying sunscreen, but reapplying it at regular intervals. So that's all. Yeah, that's all. That's what can prevent the age spots or the sunspots. Everything else you can do with skincare products after they've formed, it's not as effective. That's the truth. The best thing you can do for your skin to prevent the formation of these age spots and the sunspots is to apply sunscreen and to reapply it at regular intervals. That's all for today. I hope you found this video useful. And at skincapin.com, we make skincare easy. We've got a search bar at the top. You can type in the skincare product that you're after, and we will decode all its ingredients for you. Because forget the marketing, forget the fluff and all that of the brand. Ingredients are the only things that matter for a skincare product, because the ingredients are the only thing that don't lie. That's all for today. Have a good day. Bye.